You really think a couple of drinks don't matter? You think you're fine because you only drink on the weekends, or because you don't drink like everybody else? Here's the truth. Even one night of drinking changes your brain in ways most people don't understand. Changes that can leave you anxious, depressed, and craving for more before you even realize what's even happening. Today I'm going to take you inside your brain and show you exactly what happens when you drink, and why that harmless night out might not be so harmless after all. Why this matters? Let's be real. Drinking is everywhere. Here in New Orleans, it's not just the norm, it's part of the culture. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, even Tuesdays. There's always a reason to drink, and I get it. I'm not here to judge. I drank for years. But here's what most people don't realize. Alcohol isn't just a fun little buzz. It's a powerful neurotoxin, meaning it literally poisons your brain cells. And the effects just don't show up when you're falling down drunk. They start with the very first drink. So if you ever woken up feeling anxious or sad or completely wiped out after drinking, that's not just a hangover. That's your brain trying to recover from a chemical war. Let's start with dopamine, your brain feel-good chemicals. When you take that first sip of alcohol, your brain responds by flooding itself with dopamines. That's why the first drink feels so good. The warmth, the buzz, the sudden relief of stress, that's dopamine lighting up your brain like fireworks. But here's the problem. Your brain loves balance. It doesn't want too much dopamine. So the moment it senses this urge, it starts to shut down its natural production. Imagine cranking up your stereo up to full blast. At first, it's fun. But after a while, your ears start ringing. You have to turn the volume way down just to make it bearable. That's what your brain does with dopamine. When the alcohol wears off, dopamine doesn't just return to the norm. It crashes below baseline. This leaves you feeling anxious, depressed, restless, maybe even angry for hours or days after you stop drinking. Ever woke up with a hangover and thought, why do I feel so down? Why am I so on edge? That's not just dehydration. That's your brain and dopamine withdrawals. It's why people reach for the hair of the dog that next morning drink. Trust me, I had plenty of them. Because it temporarily brings dopamine back up. But in the long run, it just makes the cycle worse. Next, let's talk about sleep. How many times have you heard someone say, I need a nightcap to help me fall asleep? Sure, alcohol can knock you out fast, but that's not real sleep. It's sedation. When you drink, alcohol blocks REM sleep, the deep restorative states your brain needs to produce emotions and memories. So even if you're in bed for 8 hours, your brain doesn't recharge. It's like plugging your phone into a cheap knockoff charger. You wake up at 20% battery and wonder why you feel like trash. This is why people wake up at 3 a.m. after drinking. Heart pounding, mind racing. Your body is coming out of sedation, but your nervous system is in chaos. We call this anxiety. Let's talk about hangover anxiety. One of the clearest signs that alcohol is messing with your brain chemistry, the brain fog effect. Now let's zoom into what happens to your thinking brain, your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain responsible for decision making, impulse control, and judgment. When you drink, your prefrontal cortex goes offline. That's why you make choices drunk that you never would have made sober. Why you text your ex at 2 a.m. Why you go fight with friends? Why you think, sure, I can drive, I'm fine. Even after you stop drinking, its effects can last for hours, sometimes days, leaving you stuck in mental fog, where everything feels harder than it should. Now let's talk about the long-term damage. So far we talked about what happens after one night. This is where it gets scary. Studies showed that heavy drinking literally shrinks the brain, especially the part of the brain that's responsible for learning. Over time, this leads to serious problems: memory loss, difficulty focusing, mood swings, increased risk of dementia. And here's the thing, this damage happens before you ever show out with signs of alcoholism. You don't need to be drinking vodka every day, for it's going to take its toll on you. Even moderate drinking, a few glasses of wine each night, can cause measurable brain changes over time. My personal turning point? I know all of this because I've lived it. For years, I told myself drinking wasn't a problem. I was just blowing off steam. I kept saying I was fine. I thought I was functional. But here's the truth. I was not functional. I wasn't getting by. I wasn't showing up. Mentally, I wasn't even there. Inside, I felt like a stranger in my own body, consistently tired, anxious, foggy. I couldn't even remember conversations from the night before. And worse, sometimes I couldn't remember conversations from the morning. The moment that changed everything for me wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some rock bottom crash landing. It was a quiet realization. This isn't who I want to be. This is not my legacy. This is not the end of me. That's when I started to learn about what alcohol was doing to my brain. And once I understood science, I couldn't unsee it. I knew I had to stop, not just for my health, but for my future. The good news, reversing the damage. Here's the part nobody tells you, and it's the best news of all. Your brain can heal. This happened through something called neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to rewire and heal itself. When you stop drinking, after 7 days, sleep starts to stabilize. After 30 days, dopamine balance improves. After 90 days, memory and focus begins to bounce back. After 1 year, many structural brain changes start to reverse. Sobriety isn't just about what you give up. It's about what you're getting back. Your energy, your clarity, your true self. If you made it this far, you already know something most people don't. Alcohol isn't just a drink. It's a rewiring tool, one that changes the way you think and feel. You have the power to choose a different path, and you don't have to do it alone. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more about the truth about alcohol, what it really does to your mind and your body, hit subscribe and join me on this journey. Peace.